This show is powered by BL3P, the Lightning-enabled European Bitcoin exchange.
世界をつなごう
Nifty, Blockstream, Base 58, Texas.
Did you attend the Beef Initiative Food Intelligence Summit in Texas in September?
No.
If you could turn back time, would you make sure you remain completely anonymous online?
Yes.
Peated whiskey is given a smoky flavor by compounds which are released by the peat fires used to dry malted barley. The length and intensity of exposure to the peat smoke dictates the strength of this flavor, as do the characteristics of the peat itself. Are you aware that they measure peatness by the amount of phenols in the malt itself and not by the content of the finished whiskey?
No.
Is it true that you periodically delete your Twitter posts?
No?
Escargots is the weirdest thing I've ever eaten.
Yes.
Wedding Crashers is a 2005 American comedy movie directed by David Dobkin. The film follows two divorce mediators, Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn, who crash weddings in an attempt to meet and seduce women. Have you ever been a victim at a wedding?
No.
Rodrigo y Gabriela are a Mexican acoustic guitar duo whose music is influenced by a number of genres including nuevo flamenco, rock and heavy metal. The duo's recordings consist largely of instrumental duets on the flamenco guitar. Do you always get a smile on your face when hearing their famous song Tamakun?
Yes.
Jerky is a lean trimmed meat that has been cut into strips and dried, dehydrated to prevent spoilage. Normally, this drying includes the addition of salt to prevent bacteria growth before the meat has finished the dehydrating process. Do you eat it more often than white chocolate?
No.
I have more shoes than shiny rocks.
Uh-oh. No.
Are you Satoshi Nakamoto?
No.
Welcome to the Connect the World Weekly Podcast. I'm Edward.
And I'm Stef. We are ready to take you with us into the beautiful world of the Lightning Network.
Enjoy the ride. This is episode 46 of Connect the World. Stef, how are you doing? And we see each other almost a couple of days in a row next week, right?
Yeah, tomorrow is Bitcoin Amsterdam, and I'm super excited.
Oh man!
So it's going to be a very, very busy conference for us because we are also official media partner of Bitcoin conference. So we have a lot of nice interviews planned with John Carvalho, for instance, from Synonym, with Stelios Ramos from Geyser, and Mick Morochi, and Sergey Kotliar from Bitreveal. All confirmed, and we are
will be
also,
a full week.
It will be a pretty full week, and I think wasn't Ben Ark also attending one of our interviews? Yeah. So also Ben Ark.
I think he is, and he's definitely coming to our meetup. Of course.
So pretty busy week, and of course we have our Rings of Fire workshop, which we also are going to organize. So
that's on the first day. So tomorrow, then we have a great workshop. It's going to be awesome. 30 minutes, only Rings of Fire.
Only Rings of Fire.
So if you're there, look us up.
So so I'm really excited, and maybe even more excited for our meetup. Edward, do you have the same feeling, or
man?
Maybe not good to say, but.
I mean, this is a really big conference for the Netherlands and for Europe. And if we're there those days, then it's great to have this first meetup with Connect the World with all the members that are going to the conference also, and just to drink a beer and meet also the all the people that are coming all the former guests that we invited that are able to come. So that's
so
great.
It's going to be very gezellig. So,
Gezellig, yeah, indeed.
And I saw the menu. Oh man, the guys from Brai, they nailed it, man. A really nice menu for only $25. Only 25. I can say bucks because euros and dollars are a bit the same these days. So 25 euros for a very, very nice buffet. And I just mentioned it. I saw the menu and it's finger licking.
And it's great because it's all barbecued. I've been there, and they had all those packets of coals stored there.
Yeah, man.
It's a great way to have a bite to eat there.
Yeah, man.
And of course, you can pay with
Lightning.
Come on. Yeah, with Lightning.
Of course. Or main chain, but I suggest that you would use Lightning. So,
you just choose Lightning.
So pretty neat, man. And maybe you already got one of our NFC cards. And by the time you can fill them up, top them up, and you can use also the NFC card.
And Stef, you're going to sing there, right? You're going to sing a song there?
Yeah, of course. I'm going to sing Ring of Fire by Jonī Kyasshu. Why not?
Yeah, or you're going to jump like that GIF you've made for Formula One. And then,
Well, Ajax is playing Wednesday evening, but
the same evening. Oh man.
Yeah, but we got ripped by Napoli last Tuesday, so I think I'm going to skip this one. To be honest.
Yeah, I've a couple of guys asked me if there will be a screen to follow the
Champions League,
the football Champions League.
Yeah. Okay. So, hey, but what I wanted to say?
Yeah, our booth, Stef. On
I wanted to say if you don't have signed up yet for our meetup, then head over to meetup.com/connect the world.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to say. So I think
super important. You have two possibilities. Oh no, three, because also you can come both nights. That's the best choice.
Yeah, it would be nice to come both nights, right? I mean, you are already at the conference and you have to eat and you have to drink some beer. So there's no excuse not to attend our meetup. So
and come over to our booth. We have a booth, a Satoshi Radio and Connect the World booth. There we have also those NFC cards. So come by.
Yeah, so the booth is not at the great gashouder, but at the Wester Unie. So it's the smaller venue. I think when you enter the conference, on the left side you see the big silo, which will be the main stage, and then on the right side you see Wester Unie, and that's where our booth is also, and also the booth from BTC Inc. from Bitcoin Magazine.
Near the bar.
Near the bar. We are. I can say we are right in front of the bar. So I think it's the best place to be at the conference. And also the workshop stage is also next door. So But who do we welcome today, Edward?
Well, this week we welcome Nifty, Lisa Neigut. She is a Lightning Protocol engineer at Blockstream. Has a lot to say about dual funded channels. So we definitely looking forward to this talk.
Yeah, really looking forward to the talk. But first, we have to talk a little bit about the statistics of the Lightning Network and about our Rings of Fire community, Edward.
Yeah, let's do that.
Conectează lumea.
So last week we had 43.35 Bitcoin pushed into the Lightning Network, and this week it is 43.65. So we added 30 million sats, with around 1,443 members participating in over 192 rings.
And if we look at the Lightning Network as a whole, we're at block height 757,368, with 10 nodes more than last week, 17,070 nodes, and 48 Bitcoin more. It's now 4,956. So that's a lot. Almost touching 5,000 Bitcoin.
Really a lot. So 1 million Satoshis is getting you $202, 196 euros, and 1,336 Chinese yuan.
世界をつなぐ.
And then some highlighted news updates from last week, brought to you by the Daily Moon. Thanks for the team to put up all these news messages. First, let's start with Voltage. They announced a Lightning liquidity workshop. If you want to learn more about the importance of liquidity, ways to accrue, and utilize inbound liquidity, and what to do when your Lightning node has more outbound than inbound liquidity, then you can, of course, also join a Ring of Fire. And if you want to know everything about that, then just go to our workshop. The workshop from Voltage is on Tuesday, October 18th, and you can apply with the link in the show notes. And then over to Ebex Pay. They launched their new website. They talking a lot about it. And you can try out their new point of sale solution. You will also find all kinds of information for vendors, merchants, and ambassadors there. So check out their websites. And then BitKassa, Stef, in episode 7, it's a long time ago, we spoke to Patrick van der Meijden of BitKassa. It's a payment service provider for merchants accepting Lightning and Bitcoin, and driving force for more Bitcoin adoption in the Netherlands. They originated in Arnhem in the Netherlands, and Patrick is also the founder of Arnhem, of one of the founders of Arnhem Bitcoin City. It's the El Zante of the Netherlands, where you can, of course, use Bitcoin and Lightning widely across the city. And with our new plans to create Connect the World NFC card, made possible by spec, we thought a lot about the usability of this card. And Roman and the rest of the team put together Patrick from BitKassa and Rogier. He is the developer for BitKassa, Slaapjehoofd, Jesse and Yvette and the rest of the Daily Moon team to make it possible for BitKassa to also accept NFC cards as a payment solution, because it wasn't possible yet. And they made it possible. So that's really amazing.
And we
so
really have to test drive it next week.
Yeah. We need to test drive it. And we orange built 2 cafes there. Also Bri, of course. So we can use it there too. Thanks everybody that's helped with this joint effort. Really amazing job, and looking forward to use it and make some movies about it.
Yeah.
And Stef, I also recorded a quick talk with Slaapjehoofd, a full stack developer, and we talked about the technical effort he made to create this NFC card for Connect the World for the upcoming Bitcoin Amsterdam conference. And this card is fully powered by LN Bits and made possible by spec and Tunnel Sets. And, well, what is needed to create a Lightning payment NFC card yourself? Let's just listen to this conversation with Slaapjehoofd and hear all about it. What are the options that someone has when he or she has an NFC card? What can you do with it at a conference or elsewhere?
The cards we are going to provide is for paying. So it consists of an LN URL we. So if you give that to a proof payment terminal that accepts NFC, it can withdraw funds from your card. But you have more options. You can also write an NFC card with the LN URL P. In that case, it's more for if you want an exact amount for some kind of product. So if you want to pay 5,000 sats for something, you can just use the LN P and always pay 5,000 sats.
Yeah.
And we chose to do it with the simple NTAG 2114 cards, I think. That's easier, but you also have the options to do bold cards, also with LN Bits.
Yeah.
But it's more secure, but it makes the process more complex, and the cards are more expensive. So we chose to do it with the simple cards.
Yeah, to do it yourself. So everybody who wants to know more about what is needed to create a Lightning payment NFC card for an event you're hosting, or just for your family or friends or for yourself, then watch or listen to this quick talk. I will add a link to the show notes. So take a look at yourself.
Yes, and do you want to read more and stay up to date about everything related to the Lightning news, updates, then head over to tdm.news and follow the Daily Moon on Twitter and Telegram.
Great, yeah.
connect the world.
So let's have a look.
Stef,
Yeah,
I've seen a couple of things. If someone wants to connect with our node, then please do. I will add also the node at the show notes.
the pub
Because
key.
we're still, the pub key. We're still searching for inbound liquidity. So perhaps that would be
And if
great.
you want to donate some outbound liquidity, is also fine, of course.
Also, of course.
And dual funded channel maybe would be nice. No, but
Keeps us going, right?
All jokes aside, we can really use it. And
Yeah.
I saw also that we have some nice routing going on because, well, by now we have some pretty nice channels that we use. So, but yeah, if you want to open a channel to us, it's always very helpful. So Hey, let's talk a little bit about the rings last week. First of all, I have to thank all the members participating in the Satoshi Radio Rings of Fire 5 million Satoshis 30th ring, because they let me took screenshots for our Rings of Fire workshop that we use at our workshop at the Bitcoin conference in Amsterdam. So,
awesome.
So thanks to all the participants, really nice, because that way I can really visualize all the steps that we took to complete the ring. With that said, this is also the ring that we balanced last week. So the 5 million Satoshis 30th ring, node operators from Germany, Canada, USA, and Great Britain. And whoa, this went very smooth. It is hard to believe that this was the first ring that Big Ninja balanced. Only a couple of hours after the last channel was opened, he took the shot and scored right away. So we had no errors, no channels offline, nothing. Really happy to add you to the Satoshi Radio Rings of Fire Wall of Fame, Daniel.
Awesome.
Because it was he was the first time, but I really couldn't tell. It went so smoothly. Really loved to see that. So great to have him within our community.
So that's it, Stef. Thanks again, and let's head over to the lightning notes.
Let's do it.
Connecter le monde.
Make sure to secure your home network. So change default passwords and use two-factor authentication where possible. And keep your software up to date. That's also very important. Please keep in mind that the whole Lightning network is very experimental. Software like MyNode, Umbrel, Raspberry Blitz, for example, and many others, and LND also, are still in beta phase. Don't blindly run terminal commands on your node if you don't understand them yourself, and especially when prefixed with sudo. And the last one is also very important. Don't use Satoshis that you're not willing to lose. So if you're not aware of all security considerations, then read into it. Educate yourself, read articles, ask for help in Telegram groups with high reputation like ours, and listen to podcasts and learn by doing. Otherwise, don't participate.
Also, you can stay informed by following us on Twitter. You can find us at Satoshi Radio ROF. And follow our Lightning leader, Jonī Kyasshu. Join our Telegram groups, Satoshi Radio, Ring of Fire, and Connect the World. And check our website, satoshi.radio. It would be nice for you to be part of our Amboss community. You can find us there on Satoshi Radio. And like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Use Podcasting 2.0 to listen to Connect the World. And you can check SATA trading for the current value. You can find all this information, of course, also in the show notes as well.
All right, let's get on to the show.
Verbind de wereld.
Welcome, Nifty.
Welcome, Nifty.
Welcome
Good
to our
have
show.
you.
Yeah.
It's great to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
They can be pretty hard, right? Those questions.
It was hard. Yeah, it was good. It was hard.
Yeah, because some of the questions are very long. And I just, as a wedding photographer, the Wedding Crashers movie, that's really, but the part where it's not crashing weddings, but crashing funerals. And we always make funny jokes here about who was the guy? I don't know the actor by name now, but he was also saying a meatloaf and then shouting to his mother because he's living with his mother and is 40 or 50 years old and still living there, and she's doing everything, and he's crashing funerals to find some women. So
it's a Will
really
Ferrell
funny
character, right? Like it's played by Will Ferrell. Yeah.
Indeed.
Oh, nice. I didn't saw the movie, I guess.
Man, that's it's really
it's
funny.
a shame, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are laughing, so I need I need to watch it then.
But now I can talk about something that I know, and you're always talking about sports.
I'm always talking about sports. That's right.
Formula One and football.
Okay. You're right. That's what this is. This
and
is
then
your
I saw
show.
Wedding Crashers. Yeah, that's really a movie that I've seen a gazillion times. So.
Cool.
Yeah. And Owen Wilson is a real funny guy. So.
Yeah, I know Owen Wilson, of course. You collect shoes and shiny rocks, we heard.
Yeah, these are recent. I tend to get into like phases where I start wanting lots of things and then like out of it again. Sometimes it's Satoshis. Right now it's like shoes that I find on eBay. So I buy shoes on eBay, you know. Like
I hope you don't sell the Satoshis then to buy shoes again. That would be not a great strategy.
Especially not in a bear market, yeah.
No, you need to stack some.
Yeah.
And what kind of rocks are you collecting then? I mean, diamonds or
diamonds are too boring. Like diamonds are really boring. Have you looked at diamonds? Diamonds, they like shine, like they sparkle, but they're like kind of boring. I like collecting like weird rocks that people haven't heard about.
But spiritual rocks or something, or
no, just shiny rocks.
Okay.
Shiny rocks. Okay.
Yeah,
strange shiny rocks.
Someday I want to learn how to make jewelry so I can wear shiny rocks and look pretty. But right now I'm just in the what about shiny rocks point of that hobby. Maybe I'll get into put them in things so you can wear them. But
yeah, maybe.
And that question about deleting your Twitter posts. And you said no, and that's interesting. Because I've read it on Ribbon Farm. I don't know if you know it. And it was Venkat, I think. And he's saying, be warned that Lisa has a habit of deleting periodically her Twitter. And I thought, really? Is she doing that?
I don't think so. I mean, so I don't have it. I know, I guess when you say periodic, I know people that like definitely had phases where they go through and delete like all of their old tweets. I don't go back and delete old stuff. If I tweet something and then later realize I don't like it, I'll go delete it. But it's not like planned.
No. And all the reactions
just when
underneath.
it pops up in your mind, when it's useful to delete some, you just do it.
But that's nice. That means that you're actually sometimes really tweeting what you think, perhaps. So just that's nice.
But is that a good thing is that a good thing or a bad thing, Edward?
I'm overthinking everything, and I think for creating it's difficult. You also, if you drink something, some whiskey, some peated whiskey, then it helps to just tweet
and delete. Just tweet and delete the next day.
Hey, and a combination: peated whiskey, acoustic guitar, playing flamenco. That's great, right?
You're definitely setting the scene here. Yeah, Lisa's on Twitter. Yeah, this is what I look like on Twitter every night. You know, got like
combining all the things,
guitar music going, like on my phone tweeting. Yeah.
So if anyone is listening and wants to make a meme out of it, then
you're welcome.
Yeah.
But I have to warn you, Nifty, because this is recorded. So everything you say here is on the internet forever. So
it's true. I can't like bribe you to delete that one section. No, it's not how this works.
No.
Okay. We'll talk later.
I think
if you are at Bitcoin Amsterdam, you can give us the bribe there. So
I see. Okay.
Then we can do it instantly.
Exactly. Hey, and I was just thinking, we are going to talk about Bitcoin and all the other stuff you're working on.
Lightning,
at Blockstream, Lightning. Yeah, especially Lightning, of course. We are Lightning related, so all about Lightning. But I must ask you, basic bitch software. I mean, is Lightning basic bitch software or no? Just tell us about it, because I saw.
Stef just told me, and I thought, well, what is it?
No, I saw your blog because you're blogging about software in the tech industry, right, in the economy.
Yeah.
But what is the most remarkable thing you stumbled on during all those years you're doing that?
Yeah, I think I think my favorite post on there is about XOR, which is like, it's a very simple way of like, how do you explain Boolean logic? It's like, it's like, I like to think of Boolean logic. I think I explained it in the post, actually. I talked about what Boolean logic is, but it's kind of like how voting works. So if you have two parties that are voting, how do you decide what the result is? Like if you've got two people who say yes and you only say yes if they both say yes, that's an and. If you've got two parties and if one of them says yes, then the result of that vote is a yes, that's an or. XOR is if both parties vote the same, so both zeros or both zeros, I think that's a 0. But if they vote differently, then it's a 1. Then it's a yes, so to speak. So I have a whole post about what is XOR, like, and why XOR is so cool. Because XOR, I don't think a lot of people know this. I think I probably know more about cryptography than like 95% of people, but it's definitely not something I like write or talk about a lot. But XOR is like this really cool fundamental like tool that they use in pretty much anything where you're trying to like hide a message on the internet. You use XOR for like everything. And it's in a lot of like ways that we hash stuff. So it's like this really powerful, very simple tool. And so I wrote this little, like, I think it was Thanksgiving one year. I wrote like my Thanksgiving's a big American holiday.
Yeah, of course.
So I wrote like a little like love letter to XOR is like what I'm thankful for this year. I'm thankful for XOR. Anyway, so it's like my favorite thing on my blog.
But if you're telling it with so much love that it could be also on Valentine's Day then.
It could have been, yeah.
No, but nice. But you started a couple of years ago writing blogs there, right? I mean, you started in 2013 or 14 maybe?
Yeah, I think I started it around the time I left Etsy, so 2014. It was a long time ago now.
Yeah, the time flies when you're having fun.
When you're having fun, yeah, right.
Cool. Okay. So Nifty, yeah, we want to ask you all kinds of things about the Blockstream, things you're working on, and about your vision about the Lightning Network. So, but it has to be in the 21 minutes. So, yeah, if you're ready, Nifty, and Edward, of course, if you guys are ready, then we would love to enter that part.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Conecte o mundo.
Well, let's start with an easy question. You've worked for 4 years as a Lightning protocol engineer at Blockstream, working on protocol level improvements. And what are you working on right now?
Yeah, so there's one thing that I'm working on like right now is a while ago, a couple of years ago, actually, I worked on something called the dual funding spec, which is a way that when 2 Lightning nodes open a channel, both sides can put money into the same transaction and then open a channel with money on both sides. So you get to decide how much you want to add and all that. Core Lightning has had this in for maybe a year and a half now. In Core Lightning, you can use it, but only with other Core Lightning nodes. ACINQ developer T-Bast and team have added it to Eclair. So, but they changed some of the ways that the spec works. So we need to update our implementation so Core Lightning nodes can interact with Eclair nodes and both speak the same spec language. So right now I'm working on updating our implementation to match what they made so we can have dual funded channels between 2 different implementations, which would be super cool.
That would be very nice. And
yeah, nice that you work together so much. So yeah, that's to make it interoperable. It's very
do you think it needs to be more interoperable than the Lightning Network?
More interoperable. Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think like this is like a very big like open question across like the spec process in general, right? I really think like, so one thing that I think makes Lightning really unique at a spec level that like we don't even have at the Bitcoin level is that we do have this spec process. And like the spec is like, there's not a single other project. Well, maybe like web browsers and like web browser technology would get close to it. But aside from that, I think Lightning is probably one of the most decentralized projects that's happening in the Bitcoin space, at least, or maybe even the wider crypto space. Like, I don't know of another crypto project that has like a spec that's going on. And that spec is what makes us interoperable, right? So when you're like, should more things be interoperable? It's like, should more things be spec? And should more people have implemented things that are in the spec? I think that's always good for Lightning Network, right? Like having more things that we all agree on is always a good thing. So yeah I would say, more interoperability is great. But it takes like work. It takes a lot of work to get things across all the implementations.
That's right. Yeah.
And the Liquid network is a second layer on top of Bitcoin, enabling the issuance of security tokens and other digital assets, execute trustless swaps using non-custodial order books, and protect your financial privacy through confidential transactions. Can you give us some insights and updates about this network?
Yeah. I wish so I don't work on Liquid. It's not like a project I keep up tabs on. There's been a couple of things that one project I know is kind of in the skunks work phase that some of our top researchers are working on that I don't know a lot of details about, and it's not my project, so I definitely can't talk about it, but it's pretty exciting. I think it'll be cool to come out. There's, I think one of the coolest things that you can do with Liquid today is like, and that the teams at Vulpin Ventures and BitMatrix have been working on is like, Liquid has what I would call like early covenants, like has covenants opcodes. So these are opcodes that don't exist in Bitcoin and maybe won't ever, but they let you write like complicated contracts that make assertions about future like outputs you can build in Liquid, and lets you do kind of complicated things like build dexes. Or I think another example would be like Fiji is the project that just got launched. It's like a stable coin backed by Bitcoin that's on Liquid. So I think these are like some cool, interesting projects on Liquid that I would really like more people to see and talk about and use. One thing that like Adam Back likes to say about Liquid is that we really think of it as like a playground for trying things out that we want to see get added to like the main network. So I know that we're probably gonna, or one thing that we're working towards is like there's Lightning spec update called L2 that requires something called APO to get added to Bitcoin. This would be, I think it requires a soft fork. It's basically a new way of making signature, or it's a new signature flag being hand wave. But I think the idea is that we'll be able to add that to Liquid and try out L2 on Liquid first as a way of like testing out different things that we might need to change or want before we consider adding it to Bitcoin. So I think the covenants work is like a good example of cool stuff you can do on Liquid today.
Cool. And well, some other project Elements. It's an open source platform for deploying federated sidechains and blockchains, providing developers access to powerful features such as confidential transactions and issued assets. What could be a use case for Elements? We're really thinking about that.
So Liquid is actually Elements. Like they're the same thing. Elements, Liquid is just one deployment of an Element sidechain. So Elements is really built as like an open source platform that anyone could launch their own Bitcoin sidechain using, is my understanding. Currently, there's only one in existence, and that's the federated chain that's Liquid, right? But I think the idea is that like it hasn't materialized, that other teams have come together and shipped other sidechains. I think one thing that's kind of interesting is like Fediment is like totally different kind of technology. It's like eCash, eToken things, but I think they're going to be very similar in that they're going to build like open source like software, and then they're going to try and get different federations to pop up that run the Fediment software. So you have different Fediments that will pop up. Elements was the attempt to have like different sidechains pop up, but only one ever really I think only one really exists that I know of.
Cool. Yeah. And not so long ago, you made a video explaining about a new bookkeeper plugin for Core Lightning. And this plugin, it improves the accounting possibilities of a node. And they even have a better UI for all this data. You can import a CSV file to Coinly, which is a cryptocurrency tax software. Do you think this UI will eventually be available within Core Lightning itself? Or maybe the ability to have a Blockkeeper connected with third-party web applications like Coinly?
Yeah, so I think in terms of like UI, Core Lightning is probably never going to add its own like UI. I think it'll definitely be a third party that we're hoping, Lisa's hoping, Nifty's hoping. I'm hoping at some point someone builds one. Maybe it'll be me. I don't know. I've got some vacation coming up. I'm like, maybe I'll like hack on putting together the dashboard that I want.
You're pushing yourself forward.
Yeah, basically. I did a really cool demo at Baltic Honey Badger, and then I redid it in Austin, where basically I showed how you could build a third-party website that uses all the bookkeeper data. I like to joke it's like the real Web3 because you keep all your financial data on your server wherever your node is, but then anyone can build a dashboard that lets you see it. So they import all the data from your node. You just have to give them permission to import it. But it's cool because then, like when I say import though, like it could just be in a web browser, and they like load it just to show you the stuff. So your data never has to live on any server that you don't own. Yeah. But it's cool because the way that like Lightning works is, or at least Core Lightning is like this open, we have a way, we just added this way called Commando that lets you like make calls directly to your node from like web browsers and stuff. So it's cool because you can get at your data without having someone else control your data. So third parties can build apps on top of your data, which is nice. Nice. Anyways, but to get back to UI stuff, I think like I know that Ride the Lightning has been adding a lot more stuff lately. Like they just added some liquidity add stuff, which is new for us. But yeah, we'll never have a GUI. We probably won't ever have a graphical user interface in Core Lightning. That's out of scope for the project. Yeah.
And a whole other thing, you're also the co-founder of Base 58. And with Base 58, you offer, for example, a developer-oriented Bitcoin transaction class. I saw it. I think it was 3 days or something. And the long-term goal with Base 58 is to try and become a high signal recruiting platform. Can you explain how you started with this initiative and about the things that you personally offer?
Yeah, so it started off with me learning about how Bitcoin transactions work because I wanted to get the dual funding spec done, and I didn't understand enough about how transactions work to write a protocol that put transactions together, right? Because like the dual funding spec is all about building transactions with a friend who's your other peer. And so if you don't understand how Bitcoin transactions work, it's very hard to like write a spec for that. So I had to teach myself how they work. And in the process, I kind of wrote down all the stuff I wanted to know. And then I started hanging out with some friends in Houston and started teaching them all the stuff that I knew about how they worked. And everyone was like, oh, this is super useful. And this is like information that's not really easy to get. So they kind of talked me into putting a class together, which started as a 6-week online class. So I would just teach class at night twice a week for 6 weeks. We've gotten about 50 people through the class since February. Last class ended at the end of end of August, the beginning of August. So from February to August, we got 50 people through class, which is huge.
Great.
A huge amount of people. Yeah. We're kind of in a weird spot right now with Base 58. We're transitioning to trying to have like kind of a massive online class. So the first 3 weeks of our 6-week class is now up on Udemy for a much cheaper price than we were asking for the ones where I was actually had to show up to teach you. Now it's like you can just watch the recordings of me teaching it, and that's like available online. And then we're hoping to move to doing more in-person stuff. So doing like an in-person class in Austin once a month and do it the same week as the Bit Devs. So you could show up for Base 58, do 4 days of Base 58 class, and then on that Thursday, go to Bit Devs and hopefully understand 95% more than you did before you came to class. So we're working on revamping our website. That'll have hopefully a lot more of like, you can sign up on our classes and see when we're doing things because we'll have a calendar. So hopefully that'll be up by like the end of this week, and then more people can start signing up. And
I think this is interesting for the community because we have a couple of developers in it.
Yeah. And why is it so important to actively recruit more people to work in the Lightning space?
I don't think of it as like active recruiting. I feel of it more as like, okay, there's people out there who want to be involved, right? But it's really hard to like figure out how to get involved and like how to get into a community and figure out what projects to work on. And like, I think a lot of getting involved involves like confidence that you know what you're doing and like where that you're contributing in a meaningful way. And so Base 58, I hope, is filling in kind of that gap with like, come build your own confidence that you know how these things work by going to class. And then hopefully we'll like, especially the in-person Austin ones, will introduce you to people that are working in this space that have projects that they need help with. And so you'll have some confidence in your ability to contribute and you'll have met people. And that's sticky, right? Then you'll stay. We want you to stay. I want you to like come take a class and then wander on to the next thing. I want you to come take a class, get interested, meet some people, start working on a project, find a job, fall in love, write a letter to like love letter to Bitcoin transactions, like stay a while, grow a Bitcoin transaction family. So that's kind of what Base 58 is like really hoping to do is like,
great.
Yeah, not just teach people, but get them like involved. And like I said, I don't think that I haven't had to like actively recruit people. We haven't had a Base 58 class offered in a while, and I get people coming up being like, Lisa, when's the next class? I want to get in. And I'm like, okay, like soon, I think. Yeah. But.
Hey, and the developer Vjetjev really loves Lightning, and instead of only working on a protocol side, he's a big advocate for more development on apps and use cases for Lightning and Bitcoin. And at Blockstream, you work on a protocol level. Do you think that we indeed need more use cases, so more funny projects, experiments?
Yeah, 1,000%. Yes, we need more people building weird stuff. I'm still not convinced that like we need that, but I think like I think like Fiat Jeff is like, is doing the Lord's work, so to speak, as we'd say in Texas, getting out there doing weird stuff, thought experiments around Lightning. It's always fun and like invigorating to see people like, I would say being creative with these tools that we've built at the spec level. And that's awesome. I think JB55 is another person who's doing a great job of building things on Lightning. I think he's been doing like the Nostradamus, messaging and stuff. So that's awesome. Another amazing thing to see. I think more app devs and more people just like having cool ideas about how we can use Lightning is super important. I think the other thing that along with like app devs, maybe this was in a different question, but I'm going to put it here now, whatever.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. I think along with app devs, like, one of my favorite books I really like thinking about Lightning as a payment rail network. So I really like payment rails. I really like working on payments. It's like what I like about Lightning is like that it is a payment rail system. And so one of the things that was really interesting is I was learning kind of like in my journey about payment rails, becoming like the best payment rails developer that I could be, was learning about how credit card payment rails work, right? And one of the interesting things about the history of the credit card networks is that they spent a lot of time, energy, and effort, not just having like app developers. Like, I don't know what that would look like for credit cards. Maybe it's things like Marqeta, which you've probably never heard of, but there's there's these like other things, but my point is like there was in the credit card like industry, there's this thing called acquirers. They go out in the community and they talk to vendors and merchants and get them set up to accept credit cards. I think one thing that the Lightning Network really needs to like really hit like I think like that next level, so to speak, is I think we need more people that are working to get more merchants online accepting payments. Yeah. And I think that would be really big for us.
Definitely.
And also something which is very big for the community is that inbound liquidity is one of the biggest challenges for onboarding new node operators. Luckily, there are many more options to have inbound liquidity. For example, participating in a ring of fire, which we are known for, using Magma of Emboss.space or Flow from Voltage. But you talked and wrote a lot about dual-funded channels and demand and about liquidity ads. This can help advertise requests from a peer directly over the Lightning gossip network. But what possibilities are there for a core Lightning node owner to start with balanced channels and maintain the liquidity in their channels in the best way?
Yeah, that's a hard question. And I think this kind of gets into like, how do you get a merchant? Getting a merchant online is hard because the first thing they want to do is receive payments. And in order to receive a payment on Lightning, someone else in the Lightning network, you have to have convinced them to take Bitcoin that they own. And I would put it like allocate it in your direction, if that makes sense. So you need to be like, you either gotta have friends. Like I think the like Rings of Fire stuff is kind of like a way of like find a friend to like put.
Sure, it's really social. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like, I mean, it's kind of, you do a trade a little bit, right? Like you put some Bitcoin that you own in my direction and I put some in someone else's direction. And we kind of like, it's kind of like there's like a good kidney. There's like a kidney chain where you can only get a kidney if you knew someone that would give up a kidney kind of thing. So it was a friend of a friend kidney. Anyways, yeah. Like, so you guys run the kidney exchange of Lightning liquidity. But like, sorry, this is like a hard problem, right? If you want to receive payments, you have to convince someone. If it's not a friend, if you're not offering up a kidney in exchange, how else can you do it? Liquidity ads was an attempt to answer this question with, well, people that have capital, what if you advertise how much you would accept in order to allocate money when, so it uses the dual funding protocol. And it was actually one of the motivations for getting the dual funding protocol done is so that we could put this marketplace on top. The way I think of liquidity ads is basically a coordination mechanism for dual funded channels, because now we've got a protocol where both sides can put money into a Lightning channel, right? When you're opening the channel, it's very easy because you've already made a decision about who you want to pair with and like why. So you already know why you're putting money in theory in that direction. But the other node on the other side, you kind of have this like, it's sort of like you're waiting for these offers that you don't know where they're going to come from to open a channel. And then when one comes, you kind of have to make a decision, like how much money do I have available to put in a channel? Is this really a peer node I want to put money into the channel with? Liquidity ads is kind of a way of like kind of like setting up a very standard, like, okay, if you pay me this much money, I will put money into a channel when you request an open for me, right? So it helps coordinate this like game of like, I want to open a channel and I want inbound liquidity. And so it's a way you can find people who are willing to do that, and they tell you how much they want from you to do that. So instead of giving a kidney up, you just give them some sats. So that's how liquidity ads like started. As terms of like, how is this like, so how do balance channels help manage liquidity flows, which I think is kind of your original question. This is a great question. Clara Schickelman, and I think she had a couple co-authors, came up with a paper a few years ago that like, if you have a channel that starts at balance, and I should mention that just because you buy liquidity doesn't mean it starts balance. It could start like at any whatever, but you at least have a chance of starting balanced if you do that. If you start with a balanced thing, it's the length of time your channel can go in theoretically, before like all the liquidity is one side is much longer. So because you have payments can go both ways. And so they put their back and forth. And every time it goes back and forth, this is good. This is batching of payments. This means that more payments were able to be made for the amount of on-chain fees that you had to pay in order to establish that like batch account, right? They're kind of like batch accounts. And so you batch all the payments together. It's kind of like a way of batching on-chain payments. That's like how I think of Lightning channels. And so the goal is like, how many payments can you put in that batch before that liquidity that relationship is no longer like useful. And if you manage to like put your money somewhere where you get lots and lots of payments, so it becomes a very, very big batch, so to speak, and maybe that's in both directions, then it was like that was a good trade. Like putting the on-chain money in that channel was good because you managed to like batch a bunch of payments. Anyways, I don't actually like, in theory, balance channels helps with that. I've got a new spec proposal that I'm really excited about. And I think everyone across the Lightning spec like kind of community is excited about. I've been talking about it since our last meeting, and I want to say May. There's this thing called fee rate cards. I just put a mailing list post about them last week, a few days ago. I guess this is like a few months ago at this point. But the
it's maybe interesting to add it.
Yeah, but I think something that's we're running out of time. One thing that I think is cool about that is it'll let you kind of dynamically price your liquidity in a way that hopefully will make payments flow in directions that keep channels more balanced. Which
cool.
Okay, great. We'll definitely add it. I've one trick question. We have now already more than 4,500 Bitcoin on the second layer. Imagine the theoretical total amount of Bitcoin on the Lightning Network of 21 million is reached. So all Bitcoin is on the Lightning Network. What will happen then with layer 1 and miners? What possible problems could the network face? So only opening and closing channels.
And you are not saved by the bell.
No.
I have to answer this. Okay,
we don't have much time for the answer, but it's an interesting question.
Yeah, I'll try and keep it short. I think this is a really interesting question, and it's also like it's interesting for a lot of reasons. I think something called splicing, which we're working on Core Lightning, getting shipped hopefully very soon, hopefully before the end of the year. So like I was saying, like batch payments, right? Not every payment is going to make sense to make a batch payment. Right. So there will always be some on-chain funds. And I think splicing is a really cool tool that'll let you keep more money in Lightning channels and then have on-chain payments when it makes sense to. One thing to think about when you're making a payment is Lightning charges by volume. So the number of sats that you want to move, whereas on-chain charges by the number of bytes your transaction takes to actually execute, which may be kind of hard to understand. But if you're sending a very big payment, it's probably going to be more expensive to do that on Lightning than it is
because
to do
it's
it
bigger
on chain. Yeah. So I think so I don't think that all the money is always going to be locked up in Lightning. I think that on-chain payments will still happen as long as large payments are still happening on Bitcoin. So
settlements will be on the main chain, and then small payments to a merchant will be on the Lightning Network. Then.
Yeah.
Sounds very logical, I think. Yeah. We had a lot of more questions, Nifty. It made it very difficult, but I think it's great because the inbound liquidity question, of course, that's your passion, right?
We could tell,
liquidity, yeah.
Cool, thank you.
So perhaps some other show we make it a theme and only about liquidity. No, we would definitely want you back on the show if you like it, of course.
Great, yeah, of course. Always happy to come talk.
Awesome.
Connetti il
We have
mondo.
one question left, actually. It was from Roy Scheinfeld. He was our guest from last week. He's the co-founder and CEO of Breeze. You guys know each other, he told us. So we asked Roy to come up with a question. Edward will play the audio file and then you may answer it. And good to know, he changed it by the time he knew that you were coming. So he didn't know you were coming. And then he already had a question and then he changed it.
Yeah, especially for you. It's tailor-made.
Yes, I have. I'm wondering, Lisa, what do you think will be the biggest competitor to Lightning in the next 2 years?
I could spend hours talking about this. I'm not going to. I think the biggest competitor to Lightning is either going to be another Bitcoin layer 2.
Okay.
Or Lightning itself.
Or Lightning itself. Oh, that's also interesting.
Yeah.
But in what way?
I think there's a good. I think this like virtual channels or hosted channels or whatever could be like kind of a competitor to Lightning itself. Depending on what you call Lightning. That's like a whole topic. This is like,
a whole rabbit hole. Let's keep it close.
Yeah.
I saw you tweet about it. I will add the tweet in the show notes.
Yeah, I had some tweets about it. I feel like my thinking on it has changed a little bit since I was like you were saying. I just tweet and then I think about it, and like those are definitely some like early thoughts. I think I've had more complicated thoughts since then, but yeah. But I would love to see another Bitcoin layer 2 come up as a big challenger to Lightning.
Competition keeps us sharp, right? So
yeah, then we need to change the our community.
And we need to change our
we
vision.
Just
and
name
mission.
it layer 2, right? Well, next time we have a new guest. His name is Romain Roufail. I hope I pronounced it right. He's a fintech entrepreneur, co-founded Ito, who, among other things, developed LN Markets. And he's an affiliate professor and teaches courses on Bitcoin, crypto assets, and blockchain protocols. And we want to ask him a question from you. Do you have a question for him? And what will it be?
Oh, man. Okay. Yes, I have a question. I think I'm going to change my mind. So I think my question for him is when APO, and if not APO, what?
APO?
APO is a soft fork for Bitcoin, any previous out APO. So when next soft fork, I think.
Okay. Cool.
And
nice.
why is it APO? No.
Okay, nice. We can only ask him one, but maybe we will help you. We will help you a bit. We just ask both.
We're gonna cut this out and then ask both. Yeah. It's
Connect the dots.
Thanks, Nifty. It was a really interesting talk.
Great to have you on the show, Nifty.
And I was just thinking, because you told us that you know more about cryptography than 95% of the people. But I was thinking about Edward. That this will be a very nice yes or no question. Do you know more about cryptography?
Cryptography.
Yeah, man, it's such a difficult word than Adam Beck himself. No, it's a straight no. It's a straight no. Not because you're working together, but just no.
I remember at ACINQ when I did a seminar, they some of my peers gave me a link. You must watch this YouTube channel, and it was I think more than 200 videos that reminded me to high school, all about algebra, to understand or better understand cryptography. So that was really some effort that you must make. And it's
are you
interesting.
Are you telling us now that you know more than Nifty? Or?
No. I didn't watch them all.
I was hearing the same. You were hearing the same, right, Nifty? No. We will challenge you. Maybe you can do some tests together.
No, please. No, really. They were saying you must watch it from this episode till I don't know, and to understand the things that we need to know. And that's the only thing that I can do, is just read about something that I need to know and then explain it perhaps a little bit better. But I don't know. It's still is difficult, but it's interesting. Thanks, Nifty.
Where can people follow you? That's the main question now.
Indeed, that's very important.
I'm on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at NiftyNai. I also have, I feel like I had something else. I think I also have a blog called basicbitch.software. You can find my ratings on software there.
Yeah, we will link to it in the show notes.
Yeah,
Perfect,
and the base 58, of course, because if someone is interested, then then perhaps they can attend or apply.
Yeah.
So thanks again. And thanks for listening. And thanks to all members participating in the Satoshi Radio Rings of Fire. And of course, thanks to everyone helping us to connect the world together. And if you like our content, then please share us please support in our mission. Visit our website, connecttheworld.live, where you can also donate and subscribe, like, and share our content on your favorite platform. And we need you to complete our mission, connect the world. So keep those nodes running, sats flowing, and rings burning. And see you all next week with Romain and Rufael on the same Lightning channel. Hasta luego, Nifty.
Yazoo.
Ciao.